Hey drummers, it's Rob Litton here from drumstheword.com. Welcome to this completely free full video song lesson. Today I'm going to be showing you how to be playing the song Don't Stop by Fleetwood Mac, drummed of course by Mick Fleetwood. This song was suggested over on my Facebook page, and so if you want to make your own song suggestions, then please go over there to do so. You'll find a link to my page beneath this video, and then over on my page you'll find a post where I ask for your song suggestions. You type them in the comments, then other people get to vote on them, and then the most popular songs like this one today get chosen for future lessons. We've got all 3 pages of the PDF for you to download from my website for free. Again, you'll find a link to these 3 pages beneath this video. So have this stuff printed out in front of you as we go through this together. It's going to make things a lot easier for you to understand. This song is really an intermediate song, but I've made it a beginner song because there's only a couple of things in this song that really move it from a beginner song to that intermediate level, and that's really just the drum fills. But as we go through this lesson, I'm going to talk about how you can simplify parts and make it more accessible for the new or beginner drummer, because I think this is a really cool shuffle song for any new drummer to get into that sort of shuffle feel. And it's only a couple of bits, hi-hat openings, drum fills, that sort of push it to the next level. When you can sort of take those bits away, we'll talk about them of course, and I'll show you how to play them, but we'll also talk about how you can take them away and make things a little bit easier. So let's get started with the intro. And the first thing to understand is we're feeling this in triplets. The tempo is going by reasonably fast, 120. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're sort of feeling this rhythm underneath it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and notice I'm not counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm giving it this shuffle lilt. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's based on the fact that every one of those beats we're counting, 1, 2, we're filling them up with 3 notes, triplets, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, and we're playing, or I was counting or feeling or sticking then, the first and the third note of each of those triplets within each of those beats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But at this sort of tempo, it's just easier to feel it as a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And that rhythm that I was counting is the rhythm we'll be playing here on the hi-hat with the shuffle. And we got into our first groove in a second. This first section though is just drum fill. So we're playing on the floor tom and snare drum, and we're building up in volume. Well, first 2 bars we're playing very, very quietly, and we're playing those full sets of triplets for each of the beats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That thing. Not too difficult to play, that sort of tempo. Both sticks together, make sure you're nice and solid. And then you build up over bars 3 and 4. The bass drum comes in every third note, every beat. And over those 2 bars, we sort of build up in volume, and the hands naturally start to play a loud note with the bass drum. So we get this 4-bar pattern starting off with 2 bars to just basically keep quiet. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet. Then we come with the bass drum. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. And when we're our first drum beat. So if you find that a little bit too tricky, you can sort of just build up in volume over the 4 bars. Don't worry too much about making it start in the 3rd bar. You could leave out the bass drum as well. And if that's still too difficult, you could just play it as single stroke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You could just play it single stroke on the snare drum if you wanted to. That might be even a little bit tricky because you're playing the bass drum every 3rd note. If you're not used to playing the bass drum with your right and left hand, you might find it a little bit tricky. So the very, very simplest thing you could do is just play it all in the snare drum, leave out the bass drum. Over 4 bars would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Build up in volume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're into our first drum beat. So, what we've got here is our shuffle drum beat, and this is the main groove for the song. Mick has played the bass drum on all 4 beats. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Snare drum on beats 2 and 4, coming down with the bass drum at the same time. And it's the right hand that's playing that shuffle rhythm we talked about a second ago. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So this tempo, that's the tempo. See, it's not so hard for your right hand to be able to play that all the way through, and it's certainly a great way to get into playing the shuffle. On top of that, and move it to the more intermediate level, you beginner new drummers don't have to worry too much about this, because you will find this tricky. It's having this open hi-hat parts, which Mick does this sort of repeating idea. He does it in a few other Fleetwood songs as well, and he's done it in this song as well, where he plays this idea. For the first bar, let's just look at the second bar of that second line, because then we can ignore the crash symbol at the beginning. You can see we get these open hi-hats on 3 and 4, 3 and 4. So I'm opening the hi-hat for 3, 3 and 4. My right hand is still playing this rhythm all the way through. I'm just opening the hi-hat where it says 3 and 4. So the opening the hi-hats are the O's, the closed hi-hats are the pluses. So put in context, we get this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2. Now the final thing that Mick does is he sort of plays around with that sensitivity. The open hi-hat on 3 is slightly less open than the open hi-hat on the and a 3. This is for the more intermediate drummer. Don't worry about it too much. But if you want to sort of recreate the sound he uses, then you've got to sort of get a bit of subtlety with those two open hi-hats. They're not open equally. The first one's open slightly less than the second one. So you get this kind of feel. That was too much. So get this little subtle increase in volume due to the way that the hi-hat is opened. Now for the completely new drummers, leave out all these open hi-hats unless you want to try and include them, but don't let that throw you off the main groove. It's more important you play. You might not have even have heard those open hi-hats on the actual recording because they're very low in the mix, so no one's really going to miss them. They're there for the sprinkling of dust, magical dust, if you want to sort of make it a bit more interesting for yourself and for the listener, but they're not essential to the groove, these open hi-hats, so do leave these out if it's stopping you playing along to this song. But we get this for the first 2 bars, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, I missed it a bit. I'm not opening beat 3 as much as I should there, and therefore the electric hi-hat didn't activate, which is a bit annoying with these electric kits. On an acoustic hi-hats, you will get that very subtle difference in sound a lot easier. So then bar 3, he does the same idea for both halves of the bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Same for bar 4, but it opens for the full length of the second half. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So we get 3 and 4 and 1 going straight into the next line, verse 1. Beat 1 there you can see is just open hi-hat, 1 and 2. He then closes the hi-hat with the snare drum and bass drum and crash cymbal on beat 2. 1, 2 and 3. So that open hi-hat is continued over into the next bar, and then we get this 2 snare and crash. He does that quite a lot as well, where you extend the drum fill over the bar, miss over beat 1 of the next bar, and end the drum fill on the snare drum on beat 2. It's kind of a cool idea. Mick does that quite a bit in a lot of Fleetwood songs, and he's doing it here again. So it's all about playing this stuff in context. On its own, it's relatively simple, a bar on its own, but playing it in context is the tricky bit. So I'll play some speed for you in a moment, but for now, the hardest part really so far we got on this page is just those first 2 lines. So let me play them slowly for you, how Mick plays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, and 1, 2 and 3 and 4, and... So then we go on, verse 1. We get 4 more bars of groove. After that first bar, 1, 2, we just get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Second line, same thing. Bars 3 and 4 though, that second line have the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and for bars 3 and 4 there. Then we go into chorus 1, where Mick starts to play around with the crash cymbal on beat 4. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So just basically 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but it's 4, not 4. So you just move into the crash cymbal, doesn't matter what crash you use. These crash cymbal stabs, again, if you're a beginner drummer, I encourage you to sort of include where these snare crashes are on beats 2 and 4, because it's not difficult for you to come off the hi-hat at beginner level and hit those crashes with the snare drum on either 2 or 4, wherever it occurs. But if you are finding it still a little bit tricky, and you probably will, definitely leave out the hi-hat, open hi-hat stuff that leads into it. Just focus on where those snare and crashes are, because they do stick out in the song and they do sort of replicate what the song's doing. The open hi-hat, for the last time I'm going to mention it, are sort of sprinkling the icing on the top, so you can leave those out. Then, for bar 2 of chorus 1, we get a shorter open hi-hat. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and sort of a normal open hi-hat there, where opening on the and 3, closing on 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3 and 4, and so we got the 3 and 4 and we got the 3 and 4 and. Two different ways you can open the hi-hat there, on beat 3 or on the and 3 as we got here. So then on to bar 3, we get 1 and 2 and then we get this 3 and 4 and. So it's basically the same as the first bar, except it's 1 and 2 and. I'm doing my best here when I'm transcribing this to hear where the open hi-hats are. Some of them, you could almost argue perhaps it was opening on 1, not just the and of 1, but it's so subtle, his playing, that it was kind of hard to decide whether it was intentional or just a slight loosening of the foot, sort of in the moment in the feel. So if you wanted to keep these shorter 3 and 4 opening hi-hats as 3 and 4 every time, then that would work as well. Right, so then in the last line we get 1, 2, 3 and 4, and just that last bar. The second line, the first 2 bars of chorus 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so just snare and crash on beat 4 there for the first bar, and then some shorter open hi-hats in bar 2. Bars 3 and 4 just play out the standard groove. Okay, so now let me go back and play this stuff up to speed for you. So I'm going to play the whole of the intro, the whole of verse 1, the whole of chorus 1, so you can hear how you go from section to section up to speed without me yakking on over the top, so you can hear just the drums. Here we go. And just before I forget, for the more intermediate advanced drummer, I noticed that when Mick plays this live, not every time with the band, but when he's just playing it with other groups, he plays cover versions of it with other people. He plays this traditional sort of shuffle pattern with his left hand, much more advanced. But what he's doing is he's both hands are playing the shuffle rhythm, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. He might even do a little bit of this on the recording, but those snare drum notes, I couldn't be sure were there. They're so quiet in the mix. If he's playing any ghost notes, I couldn't hear them, so I haven't included them. But if you want to play a more advanced version of this drum beats, then basically you're just playing this. But you've got to be able to control your left hand to play those notes quietly, but make sure the snare drum backbeat sticks out. Otherwise you get, which isn't the groove. So if you want to have a bit of fun with that, then feel free. We can sort of and mess it up like that. So you can have some fun with it. I was trying to play around with the open hi-hat parts while maintaining that groove. Okay, so let's go on to instrumental 1, I've called it. It's just 4 bars of shuffled groove. Then we go into verse 2, and we get some slightly different hi-hat openings. So bar 1, we get 1 and 2, and then it goes on 3 and 4 and 1. So now it's 4 and 1, 4 and 1. Opens on beat 4, not on beat 3. The open hi-hat, it goes 4 and 1. But it's the same thing we're playing here with the right hand and the foot. It's just what the left hand happens to be falling on when the hi-hat first opens. So that bar there, we get 2 different variations. One, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Then the next bar, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. It's the same idea as bar 1, 4 and 1, starting on beat 4, the open hi-hat. On it goes, second line, bar 3, we got the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, so stuff we've done already. Then on to page 2. Chorus 2 is 6 bars long, notice. We get the snare and crash on beat 4 of bars 1, 3 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4. Bar 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The last bar of that line though, we get our first little drum fill triplet thing within the groove. 1 and 2 and 3 triplet, 4 triplets. So it's increasing in volume over 2 beats. I'm just increasing the open hi-hats as we go over those 2 beats. 3, 4, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 triplet, 4 triplets, but increasing in volume with the bass drum underneath still. If you find that too difficult, you could just play 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, leave out the snare drum, or you could play 1 and 2 and 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. Perhaps that's a little bit too much. You don't have to worry about the open hi-hat. You could play 1 and 2 and 3 triplet, 4 triplet if you wanted to. Or you could just ignore the drum fill completely and do your own thing. But Mick is playing 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I'll loop it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Close with the crash and bass on the next line. So let me play for you that line there, all 6 bars, just so we got that chorus section. Well, you've got that chorus section up to speed without me talking over the top. Here we go. So for instrumental 2, just 4 more bars of groove. And then guitar solo, we got the first line, 4 bars. Bar 3, I'm not going to go over these bars anymore. It's the 3 and 4. We've talked about that already. Bar 4 though has the 1 and 2 and then a shorter drum fill, 3 triplet 4 and. Starts on 3, ends on 4. Then on to the next line where we get basically just 6 bars of Mick is purposely staying out of the way of the guitar, so the guitar solo gets full attention from the listener. So Mick isn't doing anything crazy or changing anything in the background. He's sticking to a pattern and let the guitar take lead, which is very musical and grown up of him as a musician. On to verse 3. We get 8 bars of groove. We're not going to go over those open hi-hats. Chorus 3, we get, so bar 3, we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Open hi-hat on beat 4 with the bass drum. 4 and. Then I think it closes with the floor tom, snare and bass drum. 1. I say I think because it might not be the floor tom. It might just be the snare and bass drum. 1. But I think adding the floor tom gives that note a bit more power. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1. Then get ready, because almost straight away afterwards, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're building up in volume with those triplets again. 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. Or from the beginning we could do 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. If you do it that way, if you start with your right hand, you would end up with your left hand coming out with the crash symbol. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's just because the way the number, it comes out with your left hand. So if you want to play that drum fill with just your on the snare drum single stroke, you'd have to start it with your left hand, or get ready to come out and hit the crash with your left hand. It's up to you. Yeah, difficult decision to make there, but we get basically this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. It's not so fast that you should be able to do that though as a beginner. I think you'll probably find the tricky bit is not to do that. It's to sort of try to play both limbs at the same time. So on to the second line of chorus 3. Look out for bar 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. We get those crash cymbals there with the snare drum. So let me play for you both lines of chorus 3, because we've got that cool little stop drum fill break occurring there, so you can hear what it sounds like up to speed. So then page 3, probably the craziest part of the song, the chorus 4. We've got 2 lines of quite a lot of stuff going on. This is definitely for the more intermediate drummer. So, don't stress yourself out over this, beginner drummers. You can sort of just play 1 and 2 and all the way through this bit. Look out for where the snare and crash cymbals are, but I'm now going to show you, for the more intermediate drummer, how to play this as Mick would. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. What am I doing playing that bar for you? The second bar, 1 and 2 and 3 triplet, 4 triplet. By the way, those little triangles above beats 3 and 4 are accents. They're played slightly louder. Don't worry about it too much. I just hear Mick naturally playing. We're hearing that downbeat as the loud note, but you could just play, or I'm building up in volume. But we get this on the recording: 1 and 2 and 3 triplet, 4 triplet. It goes into the third bar, it continues 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. But this is the tricky bit. We get 1 and 2. Snare drum plays the little extra snare drum notes. 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so we're spreading out the shuffle rhythm, which we were playing here, with the left hand now as well. So this is definitely important you play this in context with each other. So let's loop bars 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the fourth bar we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It goes over into the next bar. 1, 2, 3, next line, 1, 2, 1 triplet, 2 is that second line. Again, another example of that drum fill going over the bar, not ending on beat 1 as you expect, but on beat 2 of the next bar. Very cool idea. Then that second bar, we get a few of these little bits. We get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 4 and. So he could be playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and left, right, left. But I'm going to be playing it left, left, left. Just because I think that might be the way he played it. But you could play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the hi-hat is closing on beat 4. But I've written it, this is how I would play it. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Now, if you can't play this subtlety with the snare drum notes and make that beat 4 the loudest note of the 3, then it's going to sound like. And that's not quite what you hear on the recording. You hear more of this, or it's not really, because that's not what Mick's playing. So if you can't get that subtlety with the snare drum, then leave out that drum fill, or use the single stroke, left, right, left, because I find that easier to get the accents right. You get left, right, left. Your left hand plays those quiet notes, your right hand is playing the loud note, or the normal volume notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Again, this is a more intermediate level. Don't worry about it too much if you're a beginner. Just leave out that drum fill. Perhaps you could just play 1, 2, 3, Just have an open hi-hat on beat 3 and not worry about the extra snare drum notes. Then we go on, standard stuff, the rest of that line. The outro, first 2 lines of the outro, standard stuff. Then we got the fade out line. So we get more of these extra snare drum notes as the song starts to fade out. That first bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then the second bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 ands. So we've got 1 and 2, not 1 and 2 ands as we had previously. It's just and 2. Then the end of that bar, 3 and 4, and we do get the extra snare drum notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 ands. And we talked about all the variations you can do, or you can just leave it out. Then the next bar, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the shorter snare drum fill, and 4. And then the fourth bar is the same as the second bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's complete. That's the last bar I heard before the song completely fades out. So that last page has all the tricky stuff in it because it all happens so close to each other. So that's really for the intermediate drummers. Like I said, last time I mentioned it, if you're a beginner drummer, just look out for where the crash cymbals are, and perhaps fill in the drum fills where they occur with your own ideas, whatever gets you through the song. Anyway, let's just hear that last page up to speed. Here we go. So I hope you had fun with that. Don't forget to download all 3 pages of the PDF for free from my website. You'll find the link beneath this video. Got any questions, you can email me, rob@drumstheword.com. And you might want to consider signing up to become an online member at my website, drumstheword.com. And what I currently offer for $97 is a full year's online access to every single full video song lesson I've ever recorded and transcribed. And that's over 500 full and famous full video song lessons up on the website already, where just like this song, I teach you the song from start to finish. You get the fully transcribed PDF drum chart. Like I said, I've got over 500 famous and popular songs up on the website already, including a load of other Fleetwood Mac lessons, and I'm sure I'll be adding loads of Fleetwood Mac more Fleetwood Mac in the future. So lots of cool stuff to look forward to there if you're a Mac fan. As a thank you for signing up, I'll give you even more. I'll give you access to hundreds of videos teaching you many, many famous drum beats, fills, and even drum solos. I'll give you 3 ebooks I've written over the years containing hundreds more famous beats, fills, and solos. And then over the year of your subscription, you also gain instant online access to all the new material that I upload for my members. And I record new lessons every week unless I'm ill or on holiday. So you've got lots of cool stuff to look forward to over the year of your subscription. But if you've got any questions about any of that, then email me, rob@drumstheword.com. And until our next drum lesson together, don't stop, happy drumming, and toodle pip. That's it.